Hello, and welcome to the BWBW podcast, as well as to the BWBW YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And as you all know, as I've started doing my Wisdom Wednesdays now, I've started including my podcast so I can kill two birds in one stone, because normally I do a video for Wisdom Wednesday, and then I turn around and I do a podcast for Wisdom Wednesday. So now I integrate the two. And so I want to say welcome. And so let me get my podcast on and start it as well. So welcome to those who are tuning in to the BW podcast. And I really love the podcast because one thing about the podcast is that you get to interact with your audience during the podcast. Whereas with you all, I'm just recording a video and I'm uploading it to my YouTube channel. But with podcasts, there are so many different people that just drop in. I never knew how podcasts used to work. And my son and I, we both have a podcast. I got the BWBW. He got Juggling with Jeremy. And as we was actually just testing these podcasts out. But as we was testing it out, people just started dropping in on your station. People from Ireland, people from France, people from Mexico, different parts of the world, New York, Seattle. And it was just amazing just talking to different people and exchanging ideas and conversations with them. And so I just love the podcast. And so if anybody logs in and they say something in regards to whatever topic I'm talking about, I'm going to include it here on the feedback. And so again, let's just jump right into it because I like to keep Wisdom Wednesday under 5 minutes, but y'all know me, I normally go to 10 minutes. So, bear with me and pray for me at the same time. How about that? So today's podcast is talking about check the expiration date. You saw the title if you logged into the BW podcast, and you saw the title if you're looking here via YouTube or Facebook, the Facebook group. And this was inspired by something that just happened to me on Thursday. So I got my daughter, my middle daughter, Taya, to go up to Olive Garden. We were both hungry. So I said, hey, run to Olive Garden and get us some salads because I'm trying to do this whole keto thing. I'm trying to get healthy and live my best life. So part of that is trying to get my health in order. And so I've been jumping on the keto bandwagon. I've heard many testimonies about the keto. And so I'm like, hey, let's just jump on the bandwagon. So I asked her to go up and get me a salad from Olive Garden. I said, and tell, make sure that you get extra Italian dressing. She was like, okay. So she went up to Olive Garden. She came back with my salad. And she was like, Ma, they only put one dressing in the bag. And I'm like, oh, man. So I said, let me just work with it. So I put the dressing on half of the salad and began to eat it. And so I'm just, at this point, feel like I was starving and I wanted the rest of my salad, but I didn't have any more salad dressing. I'm like, oh, I can just grab some Italian dressing out of the fridge. So then I asked my youngest daughter, I said, hey, go grab the dressing, the zesty Italian dressing out of the refrigerator. And so she was like, okay. So she gave me the Italian dressing and I shook it up like I normally do my salad dressings. It looked the same. And it looked just like normal Italian dressing. So I poured it on my salad. Keep in mind, now I'm hungry. I poured it on my salad and oh my goodness, when I tasted that salad, the taste, the sour, the bitter, the horrible, horrific taste that met my taste buds was just, I didn't even want to eat anymore the rest of the evening. So I instantly said to my daughter, as soon as after I tasted it, I said, what in the world did you give me? Because when I poured it on my salad, I gave it back to her and she put it right back in the refrigerator. She said, it was the Italian dressing that you wanted. I said, oh, no, ma'am. I said, get the dressing back out. Check the expiration date on it. When she checked the expiration date on the salad dressing, after she checked the expiration date on it, she said, Mom, this has August the 19th of 2019. Keep in mind now, we in November of 2020. It had August the 19th of 2019. And the sad part about it, I had just bought this salad dressing a month ago. Why am I telling you this whole story? Because it is so important that we check the expiration dates. But for me, it was about checking the expiration date on the salad dressing. But for all of us, it's so important that we check the expiration date on every single thing. That includes the foods that we eat. I monthly do a check. That's why I was surprised that something in my refrigerator was expired, because monthly I go into my refrigerator scanning for expiration dates and throwing out anything that's old. I'm vigilant in doing that, like many of you probably are. But how often do we find ourselves checking the expiration date on other things in our lives? How often do we check the expiration date on people in our lives? How many times do we check the expiration on attitudes and disposition in our lives? How many times do we check the expiration date on the vision, on visions or things that God has told us to do? How many times? How many times do you catch yourself, let me check the expiration date on this person? Because you always hear the saying in regards to people, there's a reason, there's a season, and there's a lifetime, so everybody ain't lifetime people. Sometimes people are just for a certain reason, which may be a week or two. Sometimes people are for a season in your life, which may be a couple of years, couple of months or whatever. And then there are others just there for a lifetime. But do we check the expiration date? Because God is trying to tell us and show us through the actions of others, that person they're not still even supposed to be in your life. Why they here, boo? Just like that salad dressing expired in 2019, that babe, he expired in 2018, but yet in 2020, you still have him in your life. Why? Check the expiration date. He's expired. I didn't mean for him to stay in your life for a lifetime. I brought him into your life for you to learn a lesson. But yet you're trying to hold on to something that's expired. And it keeps, just like that old salad dressing leave a bitter taste in my mouth. It keeps leaving a bitter taste, but yet we won't get rid of it. So we have to check the expiration date. Check the expiration date on what God has told us. Sometimes God gave us a vision back in 2015. That don't mean that's the same vision for us in 2020. God is trying to do something new in our lives, but he can't do that new thing until we get rid of those old things, which requires us getting rid of some people that has expired and they're no longer supposed to be in our life. Sometimes it's those bad attitudes and dispositions that we have, those perspectives that are expired ideology, but we still holding on to it. God maybe gave us a vision, but this year he's trying to do something different. But we keep trying to hold on to things that has expired. And what it's doing, instead of helping us, you all, it is hindering us. And we have to check the expiration date. And just like I did with that salad dressing, anything that's expired needs to go into the trash. We got to get rid of the old and in with the new. The Bible even tells us that if you look in Luke, let me read to y'all Luke chapter 5. And tell y'all what Luke chapter 5 says. See, we're finna go to the word on you. Luke chapter 5, 36 through 39. It said, he told them this parable. No one tears a piece out of a new garment to patch it on an old one. Otherwise, they will have torn the new garment, and the patch from the new will not match the old. It goes on, verse 37, and no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins. The wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. It will be ruined. In other words, he said we can't pour new wine into old wineskins. We ain't taking new garment, putting it on old garment, because it's going to tear. It's either going to burst and ruin the wineskins, or it's going to ruin the new garment. Just like if we keep trying to do new things with old people, it's ruining God's plan for us. If we keep in the old attitudes and the old perspectives, when God is trying to do something new, it's ruining the plan. That's what I'm trying to get you all to see. If we keeping these expired people in our lives, that God said, no, boo, he had a stamp on him. He expired 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Why are you still trying to pour him into your life in 2020? Why are you keeping him in your life in 2020? Because God is trying to do a new thing. And let me just say this, because I don't want to sound unempathetic, because I'm very empathetic, because I know when it comes to people, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our boyfriends, our boo, our babes, even when it comes to family members, it's hard to let go because of the love that we have for those people. Sometimes we fall in love with these guys. You know, we love our family members to death, and but what it leads to, you all, when we don't cut them off, is hurt. It leads to disappointment. It leads to unmet expectations in our life. It leads to heartache. It leads to pain. It leads to not having peace in our lives. And then we go around and we wonder why. It's because we still trying to keep the old when God is trying to do something new in our lives. And so this is my Wisdom Wednesday. Check the expiration date. It's so very important that we do that as we continue on our journey of trying to be better. You know, it's all about the journey. And in the journey, one of the things we have to do is trust the process, what God is trying to do. We may not understand why we have to get rid of the old in order to have the new, but you got to trust the process. If you think about it, if you had a water pitcher and you just filled it up with water to the rim, and so you come back a week later and you're like, oh, I want to put fresh water in it. Guess what you're going to have to do to put fresh water in that pitcher? You're going to have to pour out the water you put last week, because you can't, if you begin to pour on top of the old, it's just going to flow out. You're not going to get anything else in it. So you're going to have to pour out the old water in order to fill up. And that's what God is trying to do to us. He's trying to say, hey, pour out this old attitude, pour out this old perspective, get that old person out of your life, and watch the new thing that I'm trying to do. Watch the new level that I take you to. Watch the new doors that I begin to open for you. God has a purpose and a plan for us, you all, a new purpose and a new plan, but we must get rid of the old. We must check the expiration date. And with that being said, as I always say, be blessed and be